Hi and welcome back to the channel. About an hour ago, we got exclusive breaking news from the two GOATs when it comes to the transfer market that are David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, and both of them are basically stating that Manchester United are about to complete their very first signing under the Ineos era, and that is none other than Joshua Zirkzee. So in this video, I'm going to go through the quotes from Ornstein as well as Fabrizio Romano, and basically I'm also going to give you my thoughts as to what I think about this deal and the player himself. So without wasting too much time, let's get started. So as I said, about an hour ago, Fabrizio Romano dropped a tweet, and the tweet is as follows. I'm going to quote it word for word. Exclusive news. Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United. Here we go. Manchester United will not trigger the release clause but pay slightly above the 40 million euro with better payment terms in 3 years. Zirkzee signs until June 2029 with an option of a further season, and Joshua Zirkzee will become the first signing of the new Ineos era. Now, before I go into detail, again, let me move on to the tweet from David Ornstein himself. Again, I'm going to quote it, and it states the following. Joshua Zirkzee is scheduled to fly to the UK tonight and undergo a medical on Friday ahead of completing a move from Bologna to Manchester United. The 23-year-old Dutch striker is joining Manchester United for a fee of 42.5 million euros, which will be spread over 3 years on a 5 + 1 year contract. Now, that was David Ornstein himself basically backing what Fabrizio Romano had said earlier on. And yeah, it looks like it's happening, guys. It looks like Joshua Zirkzee, as Ornstein is saying, he's flying to the UK tonight and tomorrow is going to complete his medical. Now, for me, there's a few interesting parts when it comes to this deal. For those who aren't aware, Zirkzee had a 40 million euro release clause on his contract, right? So Manchester United could have easily triggered the 40 million euro release clause, and we wouldn't even have needed to negotiate with Bologna. Just pay the 40 million euros, bring Zirkzee over to Old Trafford. Because, reports were saying about a week ago that we'd already agreed personal terms with the player. So, like I said, we didn't need to negotiate with Bologna. But instead of doing that, Romano had been insisting that United would try and find better payment terms instead of paying the release clause. Now, it turns out that we've ended up agreeing on paying 42.5 million euros instead of the 40 million euros. Now, some would say, why pay more money than the release clause? Now, how it works is when you buy a player and you actually trigger the release clause, you have to pay the full money up front, according to my knowledge at least. So instead of doing that, Manchester United decided to be smart and say, you know what, Bologna, instead of us giving you the 40 million euros up front, which is about 34 million pounds, if my math serves me correctly, instead of giving you that 40 million euros up front, how about we give you more money but actually spread the payment, and basically they agreed with Bologna that we would pay them an extra 2.5 million euros, but guess what? We don't have to pay 40 million euros at one go. We can now pay the 42.5 million euros across 3 years, So if you ask me, that is smart business from Ineos. Honestly, for how long have we been crying out for competent structure, a competent footballing structure? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to give too much praise to Ineos. It's just the first deal that they're basically about to complete. So we need to see them, we need to see more from them. But for now, I'm going to give them credit. Like I said, if we had paid the release clause, we would have paid 40 million pounds up front right now at one go. But we've said, no, we'll pay 42.5 over 3 years. So again, I stress this. Man United were really smart here. Instead of opting to pay the 40 million euros upfront at one go, which is about 34 million pounds at one go, United said, you know what, we're going to pay you the 42.5 million, which comes down to about what, 35.8, 36 million pounds. So basically, instead of paying 34 million pounds upfront, we're going to pay 36 million pounds in 3 years, which basically means that we're going to pay them 36 million pounds. If you divide it by about 3 years, that's about, if my math serves me well, it's about 12 million pounds a year. 12 million this summer, 12 million next summer, and 12 million the summer after that. So again, I think Ineos have absolutely pulled a blinder here. This is honestly smart business from them. Like I said, I know we're paying more money, but this is going to help us in terms of financial fair play, FFP and the PSR. We've been definitely in trouble with the PSR, especially this summer. Our budget is quite tight. So us having to spend 12 million instead of 34 on Zirkzee actually helps us with the money. We get basically some money left back from, if you take out 12 million from that 34 million, we've got about 22 million, if I'm not mistaken, that's left, which could easily go into our other transfer targets. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, Manchester United are looking at players like Lenny Yoro, Matthias de Ligt, Ugarte. So that 22 million, which is being saved, or rather being which is not going to be spent this summer on Zirkzee, can easily be moved towards the deal for Matthias de Ligt or Ugarte, especially de Ligt, because it seems like de Ligt is the one who personal terms have also been agreed, apparently, according to Romano. But we're now just negotiating with Bayern Munich, who are apparently asking for about 50 million euros. So that 22 million could easily go into that deal, or if not that deal, the deal for Lenny Yoro or Ugarte or any other player that Man United are looking to sign this summer. You know, so for me, I'm not gonna lie, like I keep saying, I'm very impressed by Ineos so far. This for me shows me that for the first time in a very long time, we've actually got competent people, competent footballing people at the club, and that for me excites me. I don't know about you guys, but that makes me happy. And yeah, man, let's see what he brings to the club. I mean, it's, like I said, the reports are saying that we're signing him on a 5-year deal with an option of a 6th year. So, of course, depending on how well he does, we might make it 6 years. But if he's rubbish, we might sell him even before the 5 years. Who knows? But one thing I will say, and I'm going to be honest here, you don't have to agree with me, basically. But I personally felt like Manchester United, when it comes to a striker this summer, I felt we needed someone who was experienced, preferably someone who had actually played in the Premier League and has got Premier League experience. You know, someone like an Ivan Toney. That for me was the ideal target for me personally. But obviously, Ineos have decided to go against that. They've decided to go with a younger player in Joshua Zirkzee. I think he's about, 24 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Toney is 28, 29 maybe? I'm not quite sure. But I know he's a top striker. He's done it in the Premier League. He's shown he can score goals in the Premier League. He's a good striker. So, hey, but it is what it is. We're going with Zirkzee instead of Ivan Toney. So I can't complain too much. I'm not going to claim I've seen so much of Joshua Zirkzee. He's world class. I was watching every game for Bologna past season in Serie A. No, I haven't. If anything, I've only seen one YouTube comp, and he looked decent. It wasn't like the most amazing comp I've ever seen, but he looked all right. You know, he looked all right. So I don't know. I mean, I'm a Man United fan. Even though I wanted Ivan Toney, I'm a bit excited of actually bringing someone in. Hopefully, he brings us something different from Rasmus Højlund, and hopefully, he turns out to be a top striker. But I'm even thinking I might maybe look into doing a video. Basically doing a bit of a deep dive into who Joshua Zirkzee is and the type of player he is. I might think about doing that, but for now it's a bit busy. Let's see how the transfer market goes. And yeah, Ineos have basically gotten their man. Well, it looks like it. In the next 24 hours, he's going to be in Manchester tonight, and in this time tomorrow night, we'll most likely to be able to say Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United. It's official. He has joined the club. He's signed. We'll probably see him holding the shirt up with his name on the back of the shirt. But yeah, I can't lie. I'm happy with signing. Like I said, it's not my first choice striker that I would have gone for. But hey, I'm going to try and trust the process this time around. And yeah. Anyways, Manchester United fans, let me know what you think. Are you happy with Zirkzee? Bologna fans, if you're watching the video, let us know. What do you think is going to bring to Manchester United? Let me know in the comment section. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Would you rather we have signed someone else? Let me know what you thought. And yeah, if you haven't already, please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.